Hey guys, it's been a while. I just want to make a quick video on how I fixed the Hasbro Clone Trooper Jesse helmet. I've seen many people rectify the inaccuracy of this helmet, namely the ridge and the viewfinder. The viewfinder is easy, right? Just literally rip it off. But the ridge is a bit tricky. I've seen people take a regular Phase 2 helmet and repaint it with Jesse's design. I think they all did a great job with it. But for me, I'm a bit lazy painting these days. What's more, I realize I want to preserve the removable helmet feature for this figure. Hence, using the original helmet is the way to go. And also, the original helmet just looks a lot more coordinated with the other two ARC Troopers, namely Echoes and Fives. So I opted for a more surgical solution. It's like an organ transplant. I cut off the ridge from a leftover bootleg Phase 2 helmet and then glued that onto Jesse's helmet. So this is how my Black Series Jesse looks now. And as said before, the helmet comes off pretty easily. Do you guys like the result? If you want to find out how I did it, stick around. A disclosure though, this method requires finesse with a knife, and there are some risk involved if you cut it wrong. So if you decide to give it a try, please don't blame me if you mess it up yourself. However, I hope this video will at least help you avoid some of the pitfalls I went through. It actually took me 5 tries before I figured out the best method. Also, because I've decided to make this video after I've done this transplant, I don't have another Jesse helmet to mess around with. So instead, I am going to use a regular Phase 1 helmet just to demonstrate. It's the same, right? There's the fin up top that's different from the Phase 2 helmet. So I hope it doesn't get confusing. So let's start with it then, beginning with what supplies you're going to need. A hobby knife, a magnifying goggle, crazy glue, a metal file, and a cup of hot water. First, work on cutting out the ridge from the donor helmet. You take the hobby knife to begin cutting. You will ideally want to end up with just the top ridge of the Phase 2 helmet. However, what I'm about to say is crucial. In this step, you need to dig into the helmet. I repeat, you need to dig into the helmet. So you're going to take extra pieces along with it instead of just trying to perfectly go for the fin. The reason for this is because if you don't, the bottom of the piece will become jagged and it will look terrible when you glue it onto Jesse's helmet. As you can see, if I am to glue it onto the other helmet, it will have all these little holes underneath and it looks horrible. So next I'm going to demonstrate for you guys. As you can see, I am using a sacrificial Camino Trooper head. Of course, the body I used for something else, so this is actually just laying around. I'm not really wasting it. But later on, you'll be able to see that the coloration actually helps distinguish the cuts that I've made too, and it'll make it a lot clearer once I've started. So to begin with, I always like to put it into hot water just so it could be nice and smooth, and I'll be right back after I finish. Okay, now I've got the head all nice and soft. I'm going to start making a cut. All right, I'm going to do my best doing this on camera because I'm not used to it, and hope that I don't mess it up. All right, so here we go. So as I said, don't just go right into the thing itself, like trying to make it perfect. You will cut extra. You cut deep into the helmet, and then you dig deep and you cut extra. So as you can see, I'm cutting in like this, right? I'm trying hard not to cover what I'm trying to do. And then you cut into the helmet. I'm not doing a good job here, but as you can see, I'm taking pieces off underneath. Now be careful, right? As you can see, I'm gonna run this thing into my finger. I'm gonna like kill myself, but here you go. So I'm doing my best to show you. I'm trying to do my best just to center it too. Here, okay. Guys, man, I don't know how you some of you customizers making videos do this, but I'll do my best. Okay, so I want to make sure at all times that there are pieces that are taken with me. So make sure you cut deep into it. I'm doing a bad job now. Okay, see that? All right. So one thing of note is that now that you're getting towards the end, be really patient, because for some reason it's really easy to just get to the end and just go whap, and it comes out like over here or something like that, and you'll completely ruin this piece. So you want to be extra slow, extra careful, and then dig extra deep into it. So, oh gosh, it's so hard to, okay, you see this? All right, don't worry about taking way too much, because later on you're gonna sand it out. So here, I'm gonna be extra careful here. And I'm doing a really bad job showing you guys this. Okay. Okay, right here, dig deep. You see how easy it is? Just go whap and comes out short-ended. So you go like this. All right, I know I did a really bad job. So what you end up with is this helmet that you're not gonna have anymore, so it's fine. You see the white part over here? This is what you're gonna end up with. And essentially you've taken pieces of the helmet off of that. What you're gonna do next, and you're gonna take this and you're gonna sand this off, okay? And don't worry about cutting it out over here, because what you're gonna do is, as you sand it, the white pieces will be less and less. So I'll come back and show you how I'm doing it. Okay, so here comes the next part. You see, again, this is what I have. I'm gonna take a metal file and I'm gonna sand it like so, right? I'm gonna do my best to reach around here. Okay, so just take this and then just sand away. I know I'm completely covering up a piece, it's so delicate, but you get the idea, right? So you just go in, you sand it against the metal file like this. As you can see, as I'm sanding it away, the white edges are starting to frail, and you could see it right here starting to take shape. As you sand it down, it will start to kind of disengage the edge, right? You don't have to do it so much that it will completely disengage the edge. You can, but do it as much as possible. And what you end up with is something like this. Make sure the bottom over here is as smooth as a baby's butt. All right? Here. So again, this is even further along. See how it looks on the side. It's really smooth, and as you sand it, it will naturally disengage. Right, I cut a little bit too much on the end, but that's good. As long as I don't cut it prematurely. You come to here. And worst comes to worst, if you really think it's like smooth and everything's good, you can just, in the end, just take the razor blade and just cut it neatly. Like this, and you should have something really neat. But for me, I think I'm just going to do my best to sand it down. In the end, I'll probably have to do this over here. Gosh, my hands are so dry. Okay. Anyways, yeah. Okay, here's the second part. It's the fin helmet, the recipient, right? So in this part, as I said before, do not dig into it now. You're now going to do the opposite. You're going to chip in little bit by little bit off, okay? You do not want to dig into this because you don't want to harm the helmet part. Understand? So you go like this, and you're going to take it easy as much as possible to cut away little bit by little bit. See that? Easy does it, okay? I don't want you to hurt yourself. When in doubt, just go less than you actually would, okay? So you see here, get that right? So you see, still see the blue in here, right? I'm gonna take this off camera because it's really hard for me to do this accurately on camera, so I'll be right back. So now, this is what I ended up with, right? It's relatively smooth, but if I want to do better, I could go in it and file it. But as you can see with the Jesse helmet, the paint is actually on the side, so you want to be really careful about filing it, right? You can either do it very lightly, or you just continue to shave it, right? You kind of shave it carefully. You see, I actually nicked a part off of it. Right? But then you kind of, as carefully as you can, just make it until it's nice and smooth, right? But again, start little bit by little bit, you shave into it. It's not like the other one where you actually have to dig into the helmet. This one now you have got to do the opposite. Yeah, right. I think this is pretty good already. I could do better, but I'm just going to demonstrate. And what you do next is you want to situate it. So you want to situate where it is, where your fin, right? You could do a little mock one, so you could actually then see whether or not this is flat enough. It is not. You could either continue to sand it, or you could like paint over it or something. But you can see it carefully. But what I do actually, the funny thing about this Jesse helmet is that originally, the original ridge actually starts lower. In fact, if you look at it, actually, this black part over here doesn't exist. So what I did was I purposely drew in the black part, and then when I attach this, I actually shift it up and start later, and it still looks okay. So you could do the same thing over here, right? So I'm gonna dab a bit of crazy glue later on, and I'm going to first hold it, mock it up, just start very easy, and just dab it on first, and then carefully later on then line it down like that. Okay, I'm gonna come right back. So in the end, this is how it looks. It looks really sloppy because I didn't take the time to sand it as well. But from far away, you're not going to be able to tell, and especially in a Jesse helmet because it's all white. So I attribute the fact that this is actually colored, right? So you can see the difference between the white on the inside and stuff, so it looks sloppier. But if you do a good job sanding it down, it should be okay. And so over here, this is what I have here for the Jesse helmet. So there you have it. I hope even if you don't go ahead and do this, you at least find this video entertaining. One thing I actually realized when making this video is that the plastic composition is also very important. What do I mean by that? I originally did it with, of course, Jesse's helmet and a bootleg Phase 2 helmet, and the piece is glued perfectly. However, for some reason with the Camino Trooper and the Phase 1 helmet, for some reason the plastic composition just don't go on right. So you gotta watch out for that. If you don't use a bootleg Phase 2 helmet or something else, be mindful that it could potentially be a little bit complicated when you glue on. It could be a bit sloppy. So just, exercise some caution there. Worst comes to worst, you could use a little bit of putty because the putties are super sticky. But again, you have to be very familiar with using this material to pull this off. So I hope you like this video and happy customizing.